I feel a lot of AI washing is also happening.
Yes.
Companies are projecting themselves to be sort of more and more AI savvy, even if they are not, because that is what is music to the ears of the VCs.
A few years, enterprises will be able to interview an AI worker and say, and ask them about their experience. And the AI worker will ask them for a few APIs and a few what should they learn.
So innovation and creativity, just because the technology is so commoditized, this is what essentially the big tech has done right now. Someone like you were to build this Naukri for AI, it's like the last nail in the coffin. Yeah. Animesh Samuel, the founder for E42.ai. Our interesting question is to understand the business model. Okay, you seem to be in the area which is artificial intelligence, which is going through a perfect storm kind of environment right now, if you will. All the conditions are very conducive. I want to talk more on the opportunity set, but understanding about E42 for me and for the watchers is also very important. When I went through your website, and I would like to read what it says. It says, when I went to your About Us section, E42 is the world's leading natural language processing based AI platform, driving enterprise cognition across processes. The platform can be used to create multifunctional cognitive agents that automates complex people and process-centric functions towards time, energy, resource, and cost optimization. I couldn't understand it. If you were to tell me what it means in plain English, what does that mean? You have used a lot of complex words for a business which is in the business of uncomplexing things, right? So if you can just tell me in plain English what that means. People throw around natural language processing, AI. Think of it, people don't know about this. If you were to pitch your idea or business to me, how would you do that? And in simple and plain English, please.
So, yeah, Shrija. So in simple English, it is one platform. It's a no-code cognitive process automation platform where you can build AI workers, right? So it's simply put like that, right? So now, what is it? Now, it's what's cognitive process automation is basically, that enterprise are a bunch of processes, right? So you have processes across that go through functions across various departments, right? So just to give an example, let's say you want to procure some goods, right? So your product division will say, hey, we need to buy these things. The procurement division will look at a lot of vendors. They will, pick the right vendor. They will place an order with them. Then they will receive the goods. Then there will be an invoice that comes in. So if you see this process, it goes through product, finance, operations, all of these things. And so within these processes, there are certain nodes which need a decision to be made, like which vendor do I select? Is the invoice complete? Is this invoice only or have you received all the products? And basically, should we pay the money to the vendor, right? So all these decisions till today are dependent on humans, right? And this can be across, you take recruitment, who do I shortlist? Do the shortlisted people qualify for this job? And then, are they okay to work night shifts? And then then we should, then that one level of interview is clear, then we schedule a human interview. So within processes, when there is a decision to be made, that's when you need a cognitive process automation kind of a platform. The robotic process automation platforms don't work there. So
cognitive process automation is the ability to take decisions yourself. Is it what you're telling me?
Yes, is the ability that humans today have that's able to understand documents, read documents, and then know the processes and take decisions and move any transaction downstream in a process, right? So that's the cognitive process automation. Unlike a robotic process automation is repeatedly doing the same task over and over again without having to make a decision, right? So we are moving from the RPA to the CPA kind of a this. So coming back to my definition, now it will become easier. So E42 is a cognitive process automation platform on which you can build AI workers. So what are AI workers? Again, in that paragraph, you see they have been explained. They're multifunctional, cognitive agents, right? So they are, you can think of them as a digital counterpart for a human doing a particular job. So if a recruiter has to go through tons of resumes and on some basis have to decide whether these people should be interviewed and then actually call these people and shortlist, knock down them, like if they're not looking to move, relocate or work night shift, whatever the requirements be, and then schedule for, and then, check if they're all the skills are in, that they really have it or it's just written on the resume, and then move it to a, a personal, a physical interview. So, all those decisions that are made in between can be made by the AI engine. We believe it's much better than what the human could make because it's without bias. It's just purely based on training data. Of course, the data has to be non-biased that we feed into the system, of course. But then it's able to make these decisions by itself without human intervention. So we're talking about better user experiences, much higher cost efficiencies, and much less chance of error.
Okay, so I think my first suggestion to you would be to sort of simplify your about us, because who is your client? Your client is somebody who is a first generation entrepreneur running a steel business. Who is your client? These are the people whom you're talking to, or somebody who is running a mid-market enterprise somewhere. Your client is not a typical IT company. You're not catering to an IT company. You're not catering to technology clients. You are into a solution business, right? So I think it is important to talk in a language which the promoters could understand. That is the number one.
Absolutely.
Second thing is, I talk to a lot of startup founders, and the language and the conversation is much similar. Better user experience, cognitive abilities. Shrija, we use natural language processing. So all of this, to an outsider, sound very similar. All of you have great backgrounds, proven experiences of working in large organizations, having backgrounds of having raised rounds of funding also, which somehow tends to be more commoditized right now in this environment. So how is one E42.ai different from the other? What are the three things?
I will throw the question right back at you, Shrija. So I'm actually very keen to know if there is another CPA platform that has automated processes across functions and verticals, right? And when I say automated processes, I mean with complete human-like capabilities. Like it should be able to talk to other humans. It should be able to read documents like a human without having to feed or script it. It should be able to, read everything from invoices to legal documents, So I would throw the question right back at you that which is the single platform that you've seen that is automating across functions and verticals. Of course, there are, let me, upfront say that there will be chatbots, there will be RPA companies who say, I've got AI. Okay, there might be. So they are typically, you will find point solutions. So point solutions, basically that's need not be completely AI. It's basically just the AI is used just for intent classification, right? So in fact, we and along with Gartner, we have tried to find out. So there are two types of competitors that we have. One is basically the point solutions. So when I go and sell one particular
point solutions to me, please, like companies like Process9 or Yellow AI, are they point solutions? What are they? Can you just explain that to me, please?
So it could be like a Yellow AI, Haptic, chatbots like those, or it could be RPAs like UiPath, Automation Anywhere, right? So they will all be doing one piece of the problem, and they will say, oh, you want to process invoices? Look, we will not do the communication part or anything, but we will do, if you give me an invoice template, we will extract, and if you say that there are 10 types of templates, then I will extract the data and, if I know that this is template 1 or 10, that's where they use AI to just figure out if it's template 1 or 2 or 5. And then if it's template 5, then the UiPath will, go to those XY coordinates, pick that data and push it somewhere else. That's all it will do, right? If it's conversational AI, they will be like, fine-tuned to maybe HR or, customer care. And then based on that, they will be scripting. So they have conversational AI designers or rather, conversation designers in these companies, which is totally now with the LLM models and all which is out there in the market, that's totally irrelevant. And that's where they would have pretty much specialized into one domain, into one vertical, just doing one function. It's like anything what any one of our AI workers will do. But the second part is when you build up, when it's all the AI workers are built on the same cognitive platform. Like for example, when Mahindra, they built their entire employee journeys on our platform. So which means that they know their employees can access their HR related stuff, their IT related stuff. If they want some analytics, if they want some information, they have a Genie, a Mahindra Genie, which is built on our platform, which can help them with those things. Now, when such a thing happens, then is when the enterprise is truly intelligent, because now with all those transactions, they are able to predict things like attrition, they're able to predict things like employee well-being and all of that, just because of the way that the employee is interacting with the enterprise through several touch points. So if I was just within HR, an HR solution, I wouldn't be able to get this kind of intelligence. And that's what the difference is. But I would like to hear if you come across any other company that does that. It would be quite interesting to learn about that.
Yeah, because I have spoken with companies like sort of Yellow AI or so much language processing companies in the past, and which is what I was trying to understand from you, that they are, so what you are telling me, that they are perhaps more specialized services catering to sort of one specific part of the problem, and you are providing a more bouquet of solutions. So for you, a large enterprise comes on board, it's like a SaaS service, and you provide solutions to all parts of how a business is run, as opposed to a point solution catering to one problem. Is it what you're trying to tell me?
Absolutely. And that's because of multiple things, because those point solutions are based on, that's the ability, because it's a tech limitation that they have. Because we built all on our proprietary algorithms on AI models, so we can become a very, very deep tech platform, which our partners, so for example, within HR, let's take, we have a partner called Adrenaline. So Adrenaline, they've got more than 2,000 HR implementations going on. Or when Adrenaline is implementing an HR solution or an AI HR executive built on our platform, they come with huge experience in HR domain, right? So similarly, we have partners across various domains. So they bring the depth of, so the specialization, what you call, they bring super specialization because they've got more than 18 years of experience, delivering HR solutions to the enterprise. So that way, for the end customer, they get very super specialized solution with deep technology, which can now be integrated with other cognitive automation also to build enterprise intelligence. So the whole is much larger than the sum of its parts. Did that make sense, or should I put it in another way?
I think I understood. So basically, you are trying to sort of get the organization end to end. That is your clientele. Sort of all processes.
We're not trying to. We are doing that as we speak. Yeah.
Yes. So tell me a little about your clientele, Animesh. You said that we can become a very large deep tech company because a lot of your algorithm that you have built is basically on proprietary sort of data sets and sort of proprietary technology that you use. You are still sort of early on, right? Or how would you position yourself? Because the nature of workforce is getting leaner and leaner, sort of the way I understand it. Sort of there are 3 people or 4 people companies are also becoming unicorns right now. So I want to understand that how big will E42 have to be to become a very large organization? I want to understand that. Or is it really mirroring the future of work where it's deep tech, less and less people? Is that what also your trajectory would look like?
Yes. So it's not about the size. We don't see ourselves. Right now we are around 90. We don't see ourselves in lean teams. We believe that, humans, many of the stuff that enterprise workers are doing today, they shouldn't be doing. It can be automated. We need to move up the value chain. So soon we will be having our business development executives, which will be AI. Our own invoices and everything will be processed, totally automatically. So yes, we want people to move up the value chain so that they can, spend more time making the decisions that matter and not just running a process that's that's out there. That
So you are automating others. Now you have to automate yourself also.
Yes, yes. We can't preach. We can't. We have to
Not preach what you don't practice, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're preaching AI, but you also have to practice AI within your
Yes.
organization. So you have raised about close to a Series A has happened, right? In terms of the funding. Give me a sense of organizations like these. Is there a temptation to raise capital very frequently? If I speak to an e-commerce founder, so one sort of knows that the customer acquisition cost is such, the marketing spends are such, that it's really like a bottomless pit, right? You have to keep funding and funding till the time you get there. For deep tech companies like yours, and you also mentioned a client like Mahindra, having Mahindra Genie on your platforms. So it basically appears to me like a deep annuity business. So like if you get 50 clients a year, maybe your job is done, right? Is my understanding correct?
Absolutely. But in startups, there is another part where you need to capture market share. So it's like you come out with something and that's new and exciting. If it's new and exciting and if it's getting traction, there will be other competitors out there, right? So you will need to capture a significant amount of market share to stay in the game, right? The fact that others are there is always good. So let's take, the Coca-Cola Pepsi story, right? So ever since Pepsi came, it was very good for Coke, but Coke had to capture a significant market share, and therefore they can, sort of, both benefit. So that to capture that from a B2B, so as far as the business, we can be profitable and sustainable whenever we want. But the point is, if you want to build an enterprise, then you have to reach a certain threshold of market capitalization. Otherwise, these other players will come in, they will put more resources. And even though in tech, they might not be able to beat you, but they will beat you in capturing market share. So they can take it, bits and pieces from, Google and AWS and everything, and build something, that's similar to what we got. But again, they will be, there are other limitations, like they will be stuck to that cloud. They will be, when any changes within Google, they will have to, go back to all their customers with that. All their customers will have to be on Google. And the data will, Google is doing the AI churning, which means that Google will not keep your data, don't worry about that, but Google will keep the intelligence, right? So that's very different from data. So it's not about, so that they used to say data is the oil, all that stuff, but it's not anymore. When it comes to AI, it's the intelligence that's the oil. Right?
That's very well put, and that's candidly put, that competition is the fear. Just 5 minutes back, you were throwing me a question that, Shrija, I want to ask you, who are my competitors? And now you yourself are saying that there is a challenge in the mind playing on the market share, right?
So I'm not, so again, I will reiterate that it's not a fear, but there is a reason why you raise capital, because when you're doing something cool and exciting, there will be other players, right? So like I told you, when it comes to AI, all the cloud providers provide cognitive services, right? So which means that somebody can put few things together and sort, you will murky the waters. You might get some customers, then they will say, hey, one platform for all use cases don't work, because those guys would have put bits and pieces of, jugaad to get that thing going, but it'll murky the waters. And if someone does, and people will come and go and create that.
And that's definitely a real threat. Yes, it is, because in technology, the way people are innovating right now, the tools are available, I think. And because, and also I think to sort of add to what you said, Animesh, sort of very rightly, because I feel a lot of AI washing is also happening. Companies are projecting themselves to be sort of more and more AI savvy, even if they are not, because that is what is music to the ears of the VCs. So you see a lot of greenwashing happening in the ESG space. I personally feel it's a lot of AI washing happening from every tech company, which is now coming and saying that, okay, we also have this AI sort of new cool tool, a new GPT. I mean, there are companies which have something called Gita GPT, for instance. They're talking about generative AI. And I was talking to this founder, and he said that, Shrita, you don't need it. If you are feeling sad or depressed, you actually have something called Gita GPT, where you can get a lesson from what from Krishna departed to Arjuna. It's like a prompt you give, and you can get a real life lesson. So innovation and creativity, just because the technology is so commoditized, this is what essentially the big tech has done right now. And what you said, the competitive advantage ultimately will fall down to one's intelligence. That is something which cannot be replicated. But in the real business terms, Animesh, I would want to understand where your business is right now. Can you give me a sense, like in terms of the number of clients or revenues? Are you making money? Are you profitable? Or you think that you will need to do some 2 or 3 other rounds of funding to get to the break-even point?
So, like I said, you don't raise funding so the unit economics are solid. We only, because it's all our proprietary IP. So there is no problem with that. We don't use any cognitive service or any cloud. So the only raw material we need is a cloud to deploy, or even we can deploy on-prem, right? So for any implementation. So having said that, so the unit economics are very solid. We gain money per license. But why we need, why we raise money and why again, we are raising now another Series B of $10 million. The reason why we raise is to scale, is to capture that market share before someone else does, right? So even though we make money, we spend about 65% of our revenue on marketing today, right? So on marketing and this. So we have to do that, and sustain that. We have to sustain a good team. We have to sustain product research and keep developing that, so we maintain the edge in the business of having proprietary AI algorithms and our own LLMs and all of that. So we have to spend right now. But having said that, if I want to go profitable tomorrow, I could, immediately just, how many people do I need to support the current customers that I have, and few in marketing, so that will increase the pipeline slowly, and we'll be pretty decent shape then. But that's not how it works. So like I said, we have to go out there. So to capture that market share, we are opening offices in the US. We are, taking companies to places. So the reason we'll have to do that till we get a decent market share. And once we do that is when, we can think about being profitable.
Okay. So in terms of your revenue, are you like a 100 crore company yet?
In terms of revenue, no. In terms of revenue, we did around 16 crores last year. This year, we will be looking to almost double that.
You're doing 30 crores?
Yeah, little shy of that, 28.
That's sort of a meaningful progress. It's like sort of close to doubling it. So Animesh, tell me about your expansion plans. You said 10 million fundraise sort of going to happen. So there must be a sort of a fixed 5-pointer plan to it, that what exactly are the goals you want to achieve with that. So what would that really be? Like the 5 key expansion areas that you see that you envisage for yourself?
So expansion is in terms of markets. So we're looking to expand into the US and Europe. US, we already have around 30%, 40% of our revenue in the US. We want to increase that. So expansion, product development. So today, our partners are building a lot of AI workers. We will be putting that onto a marketplace. So soon, in a few years, enterprises will be able to interview an AI worker and and ask them about their experience. And the AI worker will ask them for a few APIs and a few what should they learn. You can feed them some videos or whatever that you give a human. And with those few APIs, they'll get connected and ready to go. So the product has to develop to that stage. So yeah, so it's going to be in product dev and market expansion that we are looking to raise. That's now. Post which we will launch a marketplace. So there will be a click to hire an AI.
This sounds very interesting. Tell me a little more about that, the marketplace for AI. So basically, marketplace to hire AI workers.
Let's not call it marketplace. Let's call it a Naukri or a monster for AI workers. Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. So basically, the entire skill set is productized right now. At least that is what generative AI has done.
Yes.
All of us used to take this immense pride in having unique skill sets, right?
It's gone.
At least all of us thought in our conversations that AI would come and perhaps would first come for the menial job, the manual job, the labor job, right? Basically, will automate some parts of a large manufacturing unit. But see,
That happened in the 1600s, right? When
yeah, and
labor jobs were automated by
labor
machines.
jobs were automated, and that and look at what generative AI did. It came for the unthinkable. It came for the creative industry. So actually, the labor markets got flipped upon its head, right? So I think there has to be jobs displacement, and I don't necessarily see that AI is the only problem there. A guy like Musk walking in and saying that, okay, half of you are irrelevant, I don't need you. So that sort of fat had to be trimmed. But I think the conversation increasingly is shifting to more efficiency. And AI, the more I talk to corporates, the more I talk to enthusiasts like you all and the dreamers and thinkers, it appears to me that what really is AI? AI is essentially a leverage multiplier. And now the question upon us is that we want this leverage to come from humans. We want this leverage to come from technology, right? And if someone like you were to build this Naukri for AI, it's like the last nail in the coffin. Yeah. I mean, the unthinkable has happened then, I would say. It's
Yeah,
like,
you can't call it the last, it can be the last stone cut from under your this so you can fly. The last string attached to the rock that was keeping you as a workforce. See, last 3 centuries we've been made to want to imagine that human species is all designed to get a job, and work for a big company or do something that makes them. So that's just a very recent thing. We are a 2 billion-year-old species. We just very recently realized that in 200 years ago, 300 years ago, that industrial work is what we were meant for, which is not the case. So I think it's not the last nail in the coffin. It's setting people free. But having said that, yes, there is going to be a big displacement, but there's going to be very many. So maybe the ultra specialization era is gone. AI can get ultra special in a few hours.
very well put. Yes.
Yeah. So that is gone. But you might need you will definitely need thinkers who not dug a cognitive trench, right? So people who have multiple facets in their like how we humans actually were. We learn to hunt also and gather fruits also, right? We learn to socialize also. All these skills were required, right? Today, many of those skills in the industrial revolution were totally chopped off, and all was said that if you know how to type at 32 minutes per word or whatever words per minute, you're good, right? That's not the scenario, and this happens every time a new technology comes in, right? So when the machines came, like you said, when they displaced human labor, with the beginning of the first industrial revolution, everybody thought that labor would become, would go away. Same when the computers came, everybody thought that all the clerical jobs and everything would just go away, right? They actually multiplied, right? So you needed more labor to make the machines, more labor to man the machines. So same with AI workers also. We are open to people coming and building AI workers. They can get some royalty income for the rest of the days as long as those AI workers are working. And we are open to get people getting trained, and we'll give a platform away, at huge discounts. People want to come and build those AI workers and try it out and try sell. So yeah, so there's a new world. It will be a luxurious is for people who prove themselves useful, and others also. Like for example, when people have money, and they don't have to show up at a 9 to 5 job, there will be a lot of spending also. So you'll see a lot of IPL like things coming up for playing marbles as well. So so you'll be and those guys will become sports stars, and they will be special. I mean, they will make a lot of money because they will entertain large audiences who have the money and who have time, right? So yeah, so it's a different world. We should just be so happy that we are all born in this time and space. But having said that, there are
You
others.
should be happy because you would be the perpetrator of that. If I were to
No.
I'm
We
not
all enjoy
saying
the
that people
benefits.
on the other side should be so happy. So you would be
No,
happy.
everyone. It's open to everyone, right? So it's like today, nobody can say I'm without a job because the gig worker economy is very solid, right? So, everybody can take up a gig worker job. There are a lot of jobs when it comes to that. So there is no, and so tomorrow when it comes to this, the nature of jobs will change. If you're good in sports, you can do that. If you're good in art, you can do that. Of course, your exhibition might be next to an AI creators exhibition, but that's fine. It's still
essentially the narrative is going to be the human versus AI, is what I'm understanding. But we have to accept it. Right?
The narrative is going to be AI for humans. So not that the salesman will go away, but I'll tell you typically. So if I have a 10-member sales force with the AI into, I'm not going to remove those people. I'm going to say we are going to multiply our sales tenfold, right? And you don't have to interact, do those silly follow-ups and all the things that you don't like to do about sales. You just need to show up at the meetings. Your AI worker will do all the scheduling. It'll schedule, it'll just say that, I've aligned your 3 meetings for this week on Wednesday between so and so and so and so time. The rest of the time, I'm taking care of all your tasks, but your targets will be achieved 10x, right?
So like the leverage multiplication that we sort of spoke of, but essentially you use AI as an assistant, like AI for humans. So that is the narrative that we have to think about.
Yeah. So all the parts of your job which you don't like to do so much, like this discussion that we are having, in case you don't like to type out the whole thing and go back to it, you can have an AI, summarize it for you, and then you can just fine tune it, and then you can publish it.